So let's dig into this first aspect, encouragement to persevere. So self-encouragement, encouraging others. When we're faced with difficult and daunting goals, right? It's easy to feel overwhelmed. This is where this word, literally, you can use it as this word, or this concept comes in. It's a reminder to stay persistent and to keep pushing despite the obstacles. Now, this can manifest itself in many different ways. It doesn't literally have to be that word, Shabaria. You can have your own word or your own phrase, and we'll explore that. I want to take a look at this first little bit here and introduce some of this. So let's play some of this.
There's a video that I 100% legitimately play in my mind when I'm tired. I say good. Listen to this video. Have you ever heard this? It's amazing.
I don't think he would call me up or pull me aside with some major problem, some issue that was going on. And he'd say, boss, we got this and that and the other thing. And I'd look at him and I'd say, good. And finally, one day he was telling me about some issue that he was having, some problem. And he said, I already know what you're going to say. I said, well, what am I going to say? He said, you're going to say good.
This is from Joe Rogan podcast, whether you like Joe Rogan or not. It's using it just to introduce this, but it's Jocko's concept of good. It's his form of Chivario.
We say when something is wrong and going bad, you always just look at me and say good. And I said, well, yeah. When things are going bad, there's going to be some good that's going to come from it.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to add this next one. Okay, so that was Joe Rogan just introducing this concept. I want to look at some of Jocko's video. There's several remixes and things people put together, but this is from his specific podcast where he's answering questions about it.
Is accept reality. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to look at what's happening. You got to assess it, assess the reality of it, and then you say, okay, good. Now, instead of dwelling on the negatives and what's going to go bad and what's wrong, you deal with them, but then you look at, okay, now what are we going to do positive out of this? What good's going to come out of this?
So as a martial artist, like in karate, we do a lot of testing to get to your next belt level or whatever. In jiu-jitsu, it's not quite like that, but they do have, there's a lot of sport in it. There's a lot of matches and things. There are moments when you hit a wall, like physically and mentally. And during those times, I do remind myself of Jocko's good. He says good. It's like having my own internal coach telling me, embrace this challenge, keep pushing, right? This simple word, I've used it. It's helped me push through some tough training sessions and things. It's not just for athletes and martial artists. I think you can harness this in everyday life, and it's what Jocko's talking about. But think about a challenging project at work. Deadlines are looming. You're sort of swamped. You're underwater. You can adopt this mindset. Okay, this mantra.
And that's all it is. It's definitely not denying or being delusional about the situation by any stretch, but it is also not being woe is me. Right. And this happened and now, oh my gosh, everything's going horrible. I'm doomed. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Obviously, I'm not talking about that. And it's also not like, it's okay, everything's wonderful.
So he's talking about not, I've said this, sort of coach people on this before, and they like to, say, well, it's easy to say, shit's really bad. I think that's kind of the point. You don't want to get bogged down in feeling sorry for yourself or whatever. And this is a good mantra or good way to sort of self-talk and help work yourself out of some of those situations.
No, that's why the term is good and not wonderful, right? Sure. I'm not saying everything's wonderful, but good. Yeah. Okay, now what are we going to find out of this? What are we going to figure out of this? What are we going to make happen now? Because I'm going to deal with reality. I'm going to accept reality. I'm going to accept reality. Yeah. Then there's some people that, like the self-help gurus that are like, no, I'm just not going to accept that.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
You
I'm
make
gonna
your
be-
own reality.
I'm going to be so positive that I'm going to get that $1 million tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, actually, you're not going to get that $1 million tomorrow. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to work for a long time. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to stay focused on your goals, and then you'll get your $1 million.
You're good. See how strong you are after that.
Yes. So
That's important. You're not going to think yourself. No one's ever thought themselves out of their problems, right? That you work yourself out of your problems, and you can use this to sort of re-center yourself into the fact that you have to dig in and work, and it can help refocus you on just on the work and not on the suffering.
So that's it. Deal with reality, accept reality, then find the good in it and move forward.
That's so good. I love Jocko. He really helps center me when I sort of think of his spirit, and good is a good totem to help me sort of center on that spirit, I think.